Hello, everyone. Let us discuss today the war, the development of the war, eventually the end of the war in Ukraine. I will bring you a little bit back, also to previous videos which I made back in 2019. So let's look at the most important planet, which not solely, but mainly sits behind wars, disasters, pandemics. So this, of course, is Mars. In the Babylonian mythology, as you know, I'm just repeating, this is God Nergal. He's the god of the netherworld. He's ruling the wars, diseases, disasters. He's the one who is causing the cattle to die. He's the unpredictable. So they called him even husband of Venus, as Reshkegal. He also, they feared him the most. They feared him more than they would fear Saturn, simply because Mars is quite unpredictable. With Saturn, you know that even if he's malefic, difficult planet, you know what he, because he's the karma ruler and because he's very exact, very disciplined, you know what he has for you, you know what are the lessons, the Saturnian lessons that he has for you. So Saturn, indeed, hard for some, harder for others, is planet that you can, to a degree, predict, but Mars is very hard to predict, especially when he becomes invisible. As you know, like all planets, also Mars has heliacal phases, and when he comes in certain vicinity, in relation to the sun, he becomes invisible. Then he becomes even more unpredictable, very hidden, very unpredictable. It's really hard to predict his future actions, as he is now invisible, so quite unpredictable. But I discussed in previous videos, not only one, many, the cycles of Mars, and I told you when he becomes invisible, this will influence the development of the war. The war will become more hidden, more behind the scenes, of course, because the ruler becomes invisible. So let's talk a little bit about the two previous disappearances, but also appearances of Mars, because they influenced our history. Not so much his disappearances, they do too, but very, very vivid are his appearances. So let me bring you back to, let me see, I noted down, 30th of October of 2019. Then Mars appeared after long months of invisibility. He appeared for the first time in the 22nd degrees of Virgo. Those of you who are familiar with astrology, even the basic astrology, know that Virgo rules naturally the 6th house of the zodiac, and the 6th house of the zodiac is related to which diseases? Sharp diseases, to conflicts, to disputes, to your routine, but mainly the whole axis of 6-12 houses rule diseases. And moreover, the 6th house is about sharp diseases. So Mars rose at that time. Again, I repeat, the date was 30th of October of 2019 in Virgo. And with this, he brought to us the pandemic situation. Okay. Then his second appearance, let me see when it was. The second appearance, see how interesting. I announced it and I told you what this eventually might bring. It was exactly, see, I made mistake in my previous video, just the one before this one. I said 2020 because I was talking out of my memory, but it's not true. It was actually 15th of December of 2021, 15th of December of 2021. And then Mars appeared heliacally for the first time in the 7th degrees of Scorpio. Scorpio. Mars loves Scorpio. Obviously, he rules Scorpio. He's extremely powerful in Scorpio. And when Mars is so powerful in a certain sign, it's exactly as I told you, he might bring warlike situations. This is exactly how I said it at that time. So Mars became visible in Scorpio, and he brought what we see now to be already third year, the war of Ukraine. So yes, this was exactly 2021. Yeah, I thought it was 2020. Yes. Now his next appearance is happening. Let me tell you. In 2024, and it is happening in the 4th degrees of Pisces, 28th of April. Mars appears as a morning first, as a morning star, which means you see him first, on east. So he becomes visible in the 4 degrees of Pisces. Pisces. Well, I don't need to tell you even what Pisces is all about. Pisces is also ruling the same axis, 612 degrees. The axis mainly related to health, but not only. We will give a little bit more attention to Pisces. So Mars appears again, 28th of April 2024. Mars now is invisible. He became invisible on the 26th of July. And this happened in Leo. He became invisible. With his invisibility, he changed the course of the war. Very much things became more hidden, more unpredictable. There was one event, there were other countries involved, and I mean here Africa, we spoke about this too. Now Mars will become visible in April 2024. Before that, he is going through a phase of invisibility, but he has some important movements, of course, and one of them is on the 17th of November now, 2023. He is forming his exact, yes, it was 17th of November, 2023, in the 1st degrees of Scorpio. Mars is forming exact conjunction with the Sun. Now, this is interesting, and we will look at the previous conjunctions too. They're also very interesting. But this conjunction in particular, let's look at this one. 1st degree Scorpio. Remember, he became visible in the 1st degrees of Scorpio, and now he's forming his important meeting with the Sun. It's like, look at this as when a planet becomes invisible, the planet is always very close to the Sun, and I look at this always as assembly. When there are more planets invisible in the vicinity of the Sun, it is like they're meeting the Lord of the solar system, which is the Sun. It's like they're having assembly, they're discussing our future, they're discussing our destinies. This is exactly how we look at the conjunctions of planets with the Sun. So Mars will be seeing the Sun in exact conjunction, hidden, totally hidden by the Sun. This is, how to say, influencing again on another level the energy of Mars. Like, imagine him like being advised by the Sun to change the course of the war, to change the influences on the war. And in addition, something interesting will be happen later on. When he appears for the first time in April, on his both sides, imagine, will be Saturn and Jupiter. It is like he will be a little bit under control, and the total energies will change because he's ruling the war, and because we have total change of his energies. I think this will lead to change of the war agenda, and the world will be busy with something else again. I think this will lead either to end of the war, or at least starting the end of the war next year after the spring, or at least this would totally change the course of the war. But I think the war agenda will be changed by another agenda. The war will not be the war by then would have played its role. You know what I mean? So he becomes visible April 2024. And what is Mars in Pisces doing? First of all, Pisces is the 12th house of the zodiac, ruling disease, ruling chronic diseases, is ruling it's called the house of the bad karma. It is the house of empathy, the house of poor, the house of sick, the house of the temple, the house of us living our own homeland and living in other countries, house of secrecy, house of karma by all means. And Mars, and also let me tell you, Pisces is feminine water sign related to the era of Pisces, which we still live in the era of Pisces. And the era of Pisces is about to finish, to be completed in 300 something years. We're at the gate of the year of Aquarius, but still the year of Pisces is very, very, very important because, you know, we still have astronomically the point of the vernal equinox in the 5th degrees of Pisces. So this is like anything happening in the sign of Pisces has enormous significance. We are talking about influence on the whole humanity, very global, very much related to health as well. But also we mentioned live in your own country, your own homeland. So we will be having here emphasis on health, emphasis on refugees, living huge amounts of refugees. Also, you see, this is a sign with the two fishes, the two Pisces, the northern and the south fish, which look in different directions. And they are, that's why it is said, according to Valens, I think, who said this, no, Matesis, Firmic who said this, he said because of the position of the fishes, this is always a sign which shows internal conflicts. Mars there will be, according to the Vedic astrology, Mars is not so bad in Pisces. He even becomes gentle. But we have experience that the collective energy of the planets is usually exhibiting the lower vibrations. So we cannot expect suddenly Mars to become very sweet, very kind, to love empathy, to love art, you know, and music, because Pisces is the sign where Venus is exalted, the hidden place of Venus, so it's also very gentle, very psychological. Pisces is where also Neptune rules. So it's about, you know, not only spirituality, but it is also about philosophical and very new philosophies, if you want. So we will see how his heliacal rise in the beginning of Pisces, we said 4-degree Pisces, I see. Very exactly, by the way, 4-degree Pisces, I told you, is where we have the point of the vernal equinox. So this is like great importance of the heliacal rise of Mars. Great importance. It is also happening in the Babylonian month of which Babylonian month that was? I think Kislev. So no, but yes. Anyhow, it is. No, it is 19th of Nisan. Yeah, Nisan. It is even the first month of the year. Super important heliacal rise of Mars. So it will bring what he can only bring in Pisces, refugees, possible natural disasters related to water, very possibly new health situations, very possibly, and also very possibly new spiritual movements, like which will not be very harmonious, things which will have the martial way of this harmony, fast growth, and then be forgotten, you know, like that. So you see, first, this conjunction on the 17th of November will be about like the ruler of the solar system, the great sun will, Shamash, you know, will advise Mars. So this will be about making up his mind to change the course of the war. And then I believe in April already, towards end of April, we will see totally different war agenda, maybe even end of the war, and the agenda of the matrix will go to another direction, will be big change. So this is how I see the end and development of the war. As you see now, I mentioned to you from, let me repeat, because I forgot the dates, from 26th of July, Mars is invisible, and he will be invisible until the spring of 2024, very long period of invisibility, very big unpredictability, and expect also with his visibility lots of like truth coming out always, surprises, a bit of destruction, a bit of, you know, disharmony. Water, it's something related to water, like even temporarily the war may involve water powers, like navy or to be on the sea, like that, you know, before it completes the scenario. So this I expected to happen. Of course, there is a possibility waters cease to be involved in the war scenario because of the heliacal rise of Mars. This is also one possibility. So these are my options, but it is more like changing the whole agenda, simply because you see the conjunction between the Sun and Mars is taking place where Mars rose heliacally for the first time back in December of 2021, just before the war happened. So this I think needs our attention, you know, thoughts. Also, I mentioned to you that I will say 2-3 words more on the conjunctions. Let's look at the previous conjunction. On the 7th of October of 2021, the previous conjunction between the Sun and Mars took place in 20 degree of Scorpio. So this is the previous conjunction. It is exactly near, in the vicinity of the place where the first visibility of Mars took place in November or October of 2019. And after that, you saw suddenly the pandemic was forgotten and we got new agenda, which was the war. So this is just to illustrate to you how important Mars is. Of course, I do not forget to mention the fundamental role of Saturn, who on end of January of 2020 entered sidereal Capricorn, and with this, the whole structure of the world was like changed to extreme degree. You know that, I don't need to tell you, but just to mention the fundamental role of Saturn. And in January of 2023 now, Saturn entered sidereal Aquarius, and also you see again his fundamental role. He's equally powerful in Aquarius on the changes that are happening to the world, but I don't want this to be on Saturn. I wanted to speak mainly about Mars and the course of the war. So ladies and gentlemen, you can share with me your thoughts. If you have your own insights, if you have your own, let's say, clairvoyant information or research on that topic, will be very, very interesting for me. Share please your thoughts. All the best. Bye bye.